We are starting the chapter cash flow statement, that is chapter number 5 of volume number 3, that is this textbook, analysis of financial statements. So first we will learn what is the meaning of cash flow statement. As the name indicates, it shows the flow of cash. That means cash inflows and cash outflows, from where you getting cash and for what all purpose you will be making use of this amount. So it shows only cash inflows and cash outflows. So cash, you can include all these items under cash. So basically we have to say it shows inflows and outflows of cash and cash equivalents during the period under report. So that is the meaning of cash flow statement. That is what you have to write first. Then cash and cash equivalents include cash in hand, then cash at bank, then we have marketable securities which can be easily sold and easily converted into cash. Then we have current investments. You have to specify it as current, otherwise it will be termed under non-current assets. Then current investments and short-term deposits. So these will come under, all these 5 will come under cash and cash equivalents. In this chapter we will be learning how to do cash flow statement. So for your exam, what they ask is, you will be having one question for 1 mark, like what is operating activity, or give example for operating activities and all. Then one question will be there for 6 marks. Okay, that is in part B. So for 6 marks, what they ask is to prepare the entire cash flow statement. Normally that is what they ask. So we need to study the format of cash flow statement, and we will be learning cash flow statement as per indirect method, and which divide the activities into, so this is what we are doing in the format. We will be dividing activities into 3. First is operating activity. So entire cash flow statement will be divided into 3 parts based on these 3 activities. One is operating activity, then we have investing activity, finally it is financing activities. So now we will see what is the meaning of the first one, that is operating activity. Okay, operating activity means activities which relate to purchase and sale of goods and services. These are the main activities of every business. We know that business is functioning for making profit, and how will they make profit? It is by selling goods and services. So usually what we discuss in all these chapters is regarding the trading concerns. That means they will be purchasing finished goods and they will resell, or they will sell these goods to the customers. So purchase and sale of goods and services, that is the main activity of every business. So that is called the principal revenue generating activity. Principal spelling you have to note carefully. So operating activities means the principal. Principal means the main. It's not principal, it's principal. Principal revenue generating activities. Okay, it's not PLE, write the spelling correctly, it's PAL. That means it is the main activity, or it is the activity which helps the business to make revenue. So that is principal revenue generating activities will come under operating activities. Now examples what we can write is, just now we discussed one, that is purchase and sale of goods and services. Purchase will result in cash outflow, sale will result in cash inflow. That also you have to remember carefully. We are analyzing whether there is cash inflow or cash outflow. Don't consider what is happening to goods and services. What we have to consider is the cash. Understood? When you sell goods, cash is coming into. So sale of goods will result in cash inflow and purchase of goods will result in cash outflow. Then other examples what we can write here is the amount you receive from commission, fees, etc. Then the amount which you receive from, so all these are cash inflows under operating. Receipts from trade receivables, and you know what all will come under trade receivables, isn't it? Trade receivable include debtors and bills receivable. So the amount you get from these two will come under cash inflow under operating activities. Then the payment you make to trade payables, that will come under cash outflow, again under the operating activities. And trade payables, we know that it includes creditors and bills payable. Then the payment which you make to or payment of salary, wages and other operating expenses. So all these will come under, like payment of rent. Operating expenses means expenses which are recurring, okay, which will happen again and again. So all these are examples of operating activities. Whenever we write payment, that means it is cash outflow, or if we are writing receipts, that means it is cash inflow. Basically all these will come under operating activities. Okay, then payment of tax, refund of tax, that also you can write here. Okay, if nothing is mentioned, payment and refund of tax. Refund of tax means it is inflow, the payment of tax means it is outflow. So payment and refund of tax, unless it is specified, it can be taken as operating activities. So these are the main activities of every business. At least you must remember purchase and sale of goods and services. Okay. Then what we discuss now is operating activities of non-financial companies. Okay, these are the operating activities of non-financial companies. So normally in questions they don't specify the nature of the company, you can assume it as non-financial companies, and these will be their operating activities. Okay, normally these type of questions you will be getting, but certain times for 1 mark questions they will be asking what are the operating activities of finance companies. Okay, so for finance companies, the operating activities of finance companies or financial companies differ, like their main activity will not be purchase and sale of goods, it will be purchase and sale of securities, the shares, and also they will be dealing in shares or securities. So this will be their main activity. Understood? Or the interest which they pay or the dividend which they pay, all these will become their main activity. Understood? So for financial companies, the main activity will be purchase and sale of securities. Other examples are given on page number 5.4. You can just go through that. Did you see there? Payment for purchase of securities, then interest on loan, then sale of securities, dividend received, interest received on loans granted. All these will be considered as the operating activity if it is a financial company, or else the normal one is non-financial company, and for them their main activity is purchase and sale of goods and services. Okay. The next category, the next type of activity is investing activities, which we wrote earlier. So second one is investing activities. Investing activities meaning is purchase and sale of fixed assets. When you write, don't write short forms, you must write the entire term fixed assets, and non-current investments. So purchase and sale of fixed assets and non-current investments. Now you can write the example. See, fixed assets means any fixed assets you can write as example here. So purchase of machinery, purchase of building, purchase of computer. So purchase of land and building, plant and machinery, all these will come under investing activity. Then sale of fixed assets, they like sale of building, sale of machinery, sale of computer, sale of furniture, any fixed asset you can write as example. Understood? So when you sell fixed asset, it is cash inflow under investing activity. When you purchase a machinery or when you purchase a fixed asset, it is cash outflow under investing activity. So basically what you have to remember is only this sentence, that is purchase and sale of fixed assets and non-current investments will come under investing activities. You can write all these examples there. Okay, when you write notes, you must write examples also. Then other than that, what you can write is, other examples you can write as purchase of goodwill, because goodwill is also a fixed asset. Only thing is it is intangible in nature, but again it is a fixed asset. Then we can write rent received, the rent which you get from your building, and that building is your investment. So rent received is an investing activity. Then dividend received. So all these can be written as examples of investing activity, because when you invest in shares, you get a return, that is called dividend. So again that is investment, or it is related to investing activity. Rent also which you are getting from your building, that is again a type of investing activity. Okay, other examples we already discussed. The third type of activity is called financing activity. What is financing activity? Activities that affect or activities which result in change in size and composition of share capital, and that includes equity and preference share capital, and other than that it includes borrowings. Okay, so you have to remember this. Financing activities means activities which affect two terms, that is share capital, the other one is borrowings. Both are part of raising funds. So when you issue shares, we are basically raising funds. When you borrow or when you take a bank loan, again we are raising funds. So activities that affect share capital and borrowings will come under financing activities. So example what we can write here is issue of shares. It can be issue of equity shares, issue of preference shares, it can be any type of share. Okay, then issue of debentures, because debenture is a type of borrowing, so issue of debentures will come here. Then taking a bank loan, that is also a way of financing, it's also a borrowing. So taking a bank loan or bank overdraft will come here. Interest on bank overdraft, interest on loan, so all these will be interest on loan, interest on bank overdraft, all these will be financing activity. But bank loan or bank overdraft means we are getting the amount, it is cash inflow, whereas interest on loan or interest on bank OD means we are paying, which is cash outflow. Okay, then inflows and outflows we have to write as examples. Then repayment of bank loan, taking a bank loan we wrote earlier, repayment of bank loan we can write as cash outflow example. Then buyback of shares, that means first we issued shares, now we are buying it back, So that will come under cash outflow. Then redemption of debentures, that means taking debentures back. For debentures we will be using the term redemption, and for shares we will be using the term buyback. Basically it means we are paying the amount back, getting the shares and debentures back. Okay. So redemption of debentures, buyback of shares, so all these will result in cash outflow under financing activities. So I hope now you would have understood the meaning of cash flow statement and 3 different types of activities. We will do one problem, that is illustration number 8. It's given on page 5.10. Identify the following transactions. We have to categorize it into 4 actually, that is 3 activities, and they have asked you to classify it under cash and cash equivalents. We already discussed cash and cash equivalents. Okay, the first one is, I'll explain this, you can write, when you write, draw 3, sorry not 3 columns, we need to have 4 columns. Operating activities, then financing activities, operating, investing, we will write investing second one, operating, investing, financing, finally it is cash and cash equivalents. Okay, operating, investing, financing, cash and cash equivalents. The first one, cash sales. Cash sales will come under the sale of goods and services, meaning is sale of goods and services will come under operating activity. They haven't asked you to classify as inflow and outflow, so you can directly write under operating activity, that cash sales. Then second one is on the right side, cash purchases, again under operating. Then rent paid is given, rent paid I told you that will come under operating activity because it is a recurring expense or it is an operating expense. So rent paid is operating, whereas rent received will come under investing. On your building, when you get rent, that is your investing activity. Building is an investment for you. Okay, whereas when you pay rent, that means it is your operating activity or it's your operating expense. Then fourth one is cash in hand. Cash in hand is an example of cash and cash equivalents. Then we have income tax paid, that also I had explained when we discussed operating activity. Payment and refund of tax will come under operating activity. So fifth one is operating. Then office expenses, which are recurring in nature, so they are operating expenses, they will come under operating activity. You have to write all these. Okay. Then balance at bank, that is cash at bank, again cash and cash equivalents. Then eighth one, sale of machines, don't stop with that, sale of machines by a dealer of machines. Sale of machine or sale of machinery is a fixed asset which will come under investing activity, isn't it? Whereas here it is said in the question, sale of machines by a dealer of machines. That means every day he is doing the sale. He will be buying machines and then reselling the same. So he is dealing in that same business. So on a regular basis he is doing this. So machine here becomes a good, not a fixed asset. Fixed asset means which will be there with the business for a period of more than 1 year. Here it is not there with the business for a period of more than 1 year. Every day or every month we will be having a purchase or a sale transaction. So it is happening on a regular basis. So sale of machines by a dealer of machines means consider machine as a good. So sale of goods will come under operating activity. Issue of debentures, that is borrowing, so that is financing activity. Dividend paid is also financing activity. Did we write there dividend paid as an example? Okay, you can write here, okay, just include these two items. Interest you pay, that is the interest you pay on loan and bank overdraft. Okay, that we have written already. Interest paid, then dividend paid. All these will come under financing activity, because when you issue shares, you will have to pay them dividend. When you take a bank loan, you will have to pay interest on these loans. So all these are related to financing activity. All these will come under financing activity. Whereas interest received, dividend received, all these are related to investments. When you invest in shares, you will get dividend. That is your investment activity. Understood? So don't get confused. Paid will come under financing, whereas received will come under investing activity. Don't by heart, you must understand the concept. Then cash paid against trade payables, we wrote there under operating activity. When you make payment to trade payables, payment to creditors, all these are operating. Then purchase of machines, nothing else is given, so that is investing activity. It is a fixed asset here. Income tax refund, operating activity. Issue of share capital, that is financing. Then sale of patents, patents is intangible assets, and sale of patents can be written under investing activity. Okay, because patents is a kind of fixed assets. Intangible assets also will come under fixed assets. Then purchase of marketable securities, marketable securities coming under cash and cash equivalents. So that is cash and cash equivalents. Then purchase of goodwill, again that is investing activity, because goodwill is also a fixed asset. Fixed asset, you must remember, it includes tangible and intangible assets. Then short term deposits, that is coming under cash and cash equivalents. Purchase of securities, within brackets they have written non-marketable. Just see transaction 16, that is purchase of marketable securities, which we have to write under cash and cash equivalents. The fourth table we have to write. Okay, here you have to write purchase of marketable securities, whereas the transaction that is 19th one, purchase of securities, within brackets they wrote non-marketable, meaning is they are non-current investments. Purchase and sale of fixed assets and non-current investments will come under investing activity. So that is investing. 19th one is investing. Then cash received from debtors, that is operating activity. Okay, so this is how you have to classify the items or the transactions into these three activities and cash equivalents. So I hope you understood the basic meaning of three different types of activities. You should understand the concept. Don't simply by heart. The examples also you need not by heart, just read it 2-3 times, you read and understand the concept. Okay.